We have now our next guest presentation, Spark Unlimited. We have Kevin here who's going to take us through the work that they've been doing. So they've been working on a lot of different games here, and there's one that you've probably heard of before at some point or other. There's something called Lost Planet. Well, they're working on Lost Planet 3, and we're going to get a little taste of what they've been working on. We're even going to see some of the gameplay in real time here on the booth, which was no small feat to get ourselves hooked up for. Nothing like plugging in an Xbox when you're used to plugging in all these other high-end AV equipment. It's like, oh, let's figure that one out. So everything's up and running, and we're good to go. So Kevin, why don't you take it away?
I want to thank Autodesk for having us out here so we get a chance to show a little bit of Lost Planet 3. So, and particular thanks for all the technical hurdles to get us up and running so we can show you a real-time presentation as well. My name is Kevin Scharf. I'm the producer at Spark Unlimited. We're the developer for Lost Planet 3. We are very privileged to be partnering with Capcom to take hold of their franchise and steer it into new directions. As everyone knows, the Lost Planet Capcom franchise was exclusively developed out of their internal studios back in Japan. Until this third installment. And we formed a collaboration with them because we wanted to explore how we could delve into a more narrative-focused cinematic experience. And we were very lucky that we formulated a very strong relationship with Capcom. So the focus on this talk is just going to be talking a little bit about how we are crafting that narrative experience in Lost Planet. We are very much in the middle of production, so unfortunately I can't go too deep behind the curtain to show things, but Capcom was generous enough to let us show some materials to give you a little bit of insight into what we're using, and in particular how we are trying to leverage Autodesk tools to compose Lost Planet 3. So one of the main focuses of Lost Planet 3 was defining the narrative goals. We needed to take a step back from the franchise. The second one ended as a 4-player co-op experience with fully customized characters, and we were taking note of the fact that you weren't able to immerse yourself or identify with the protagonist or hero. And so one of the goals was immediately to employ techniques to make that a much more central experience. So our narrative goals centered around 4 kind of simple key elements. One was make it much more intimate and rely on more traditional cinematic devices, which ultimately meant a more intimate experience, bringing the camera in closer, not having kind of at a far gameplay. It also relied on more westernizing the storytelling. A lot of note was taken from the first 2 Lost Planets that the idea of having a Western developer was elusive to the development teams and trying to get some of that Western storytelling elements in place. And so we've tried to invoke a lot of those, and we'll go through some of that. Additionally, we needed to ground ourselves into a believable hero. Kind of see Jim Payton, our hero, kind of in a difficult spot here. But for the most part, he is generally seen as an everyman, a blue-collar worker sent to the early days of EDM3 as an early colonist to help exploit resources on the planet to support his family back home. He's not a space marine. He's not the classic hooded anti-hero that you find anywhere else. And so we really had to rely on a lot of pipelines to reinforce a believable hero. And lastly, what we wanted to return to the extreme conditions of the original Lost Planet. Everyone really fell in love with being in an alien, harsh landscape where the conditions were brutal beyond our imaginations, where Antarctica would seem like a cakewalk. And focusing the narrative on placing our character back in that environment was absolutely important. So I'm going to talk a little bit about one of the things that we've utilized the Entertainment Creation Suite to focus on making more believable characters. We followed a kind of a classic digital doubles pipeline, where we begin with scanning our characters based off of casted actors. We find really, really strong performances that fit the needs of our game director, and we begin by scanning them. We separated out the body scans from the face scans in order to leverage universal topology and ability to the fact that we are a game and we need to be able to run all this data real time. So we looked at getting body data that we could leverage through our motion capture and have a retargeted rigging system. Our face scans relied on getting a neutral plus the full suite of fact shapes so that we could have a very strong basis in which to build our rig off of. And of course, we followed kind of the traditional Hollywood style of a hair and makeup pass, where we want to look at defining our hero. We also look to our cast of characters who we acted. For instance, Jim, his hairline follows very closely to the actor's original hairline so that we can instill a little bit more believability. Additionally, in the rigging stage, we chose to do a ROM for all the bone targeting. So during our scans, we would be able to align all of our bone shapes, our bones, to the scans, so that we could get a much more accurate representation. It made for much cleaner motion capture data. We also took time to develop a rig to retarget all the face shapes back to bone data, which is necessary for our real-time pipeline. As much as we would love to pour in 70 plus morph targets, to get the fidelity we need to retarget back onto bones to take advantage of that. Likewise, we carried forth all of our procedures to more integrated performances. So we looked at a fully integrated motion performance pipeline utilizing Mayan Motion Builder's tool set to do a full body, face, and audio capture on set and then drive it all together to create a complete experience. Once we had that captured, we utilize an internal volume where we use our virtual camera to allow for a more cinema verite style to get up close and personal. Here you can see Jim talking to the crew chief Braddock. We're going to look at that scene in just a moment. Lastly, we have relied on our pipeline to do full in-engine rendering. We utilize the Unreal Engine 3 pipeline, and it's very important in order to get that focus in place to carry a believability of that narrative, to not create a distinction between any of our cinematic pipeline and our real-time engine. So we're going to take a quick look at our at a cinematic, if we get the lights real fast.
Non-aggressive indigenous creatures, huh? Look at that. You want me back out there? I want a chain gun on my rig.
You know my hands are tied.
Oh.
NEVEC regulations.
Yes, don't weaponize the construction vehicles, but I mean in this case...
Nothing. I'm not gonna let you jeopardize my project on account of your nerve deficit.
Oh, please.
They call it hazard pay for a reason.
God damn, LaRoche. That is some love tap.
Ta gueule.
Hey, Jim, your rig ready to roll?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, we've been surveying an energy pocket. A big one out by Howling Pass. And LaRoche here is not playing nice with the wildlife. So, interested?
Well, no, I don't want to just snake a man's contract.
No, take it. Get yourself killed.
Not for at least double, I mean.
Done.
What?
Attention. Lockdown lifted.
Man, that's my cue.
Jim, listen, with the main generator still toast and the T-energy processor's working overtime, I don't need to tell you that we really need this one.
Don't you worry.
Double? 200 credits say they eat his face.
You want double? Well, quit your whining and earn it.
So my hat's off to our very talented technical and artistic team for putting that together. Again, all done through the Unreal Engine, utilizing the entertainment creation suite to get us there. But we didn't stop there with our narrative focus. We also turned to other tools. We highly leverage Autodesk Scaleform to create an extension of our character through the user interface. We use that in kind of traditional game mechanics for feedback, vital statistics, kind of typical things you find in a game experience. But we also leverage Scaleform to give the player an extension of themselves. A core tenet of our game is Jim has an attachment to his vital suit, which we term the utility rig. In previous Lost Planets, vital suits were very much like power armor, but in this case, it's much more like a large-scale mech. And we want to very much emphasize a relationship much like a trucker is to with his rig. And we found that Scaleform provided a lot of that feedback. When we play through the game, you'll see a lot of that extension of Jim through the vital suit and how he relates to the world. We also leverage Autodesk Kinaps to create much more believable creatures. Our Acrid, the kind of hostile creatures in Lost Planet, require sophisticated behaviors. And we put a very heavy emphasis on the AI investment so far. In order to do that, we need to leverage complex pathfinding solutions. And we found that Kinaps satisfies that very strongly. It also supports, in an instance like a creature like these pack hunter style creatures, a versatility of combat. They need to not only hunt down Jim, but they need to relate to each other and work together as a team to try to take the player down, as well as deal with Jim both as in a threatened environment as such, as well as you'll see in the vital suit. So we're going to now turn our attention to the game demo. This is a real-time demonstration of the Xbox 360. I'm going to hand it over to Jesse Young, our associate producer, who's going to drive us through a slice of the game.
Jim's heading out, so let's prep the rig, people!
Here we are with the introduction of the utility rig.
Don't forget, I also bolted one to the back of the rig. I know you like options.
Every point in the way, we want to kind of continue to humanize Jim as he learns to do things again. He's not a superhero. He's an everyman. So one of the things we're bringing into Lost Planet 3 is a first-person perspective while you're in the utility rig, which puts an extra emphasis on using Scaleform. You'll see that it provides constant feedback to your surroundings and how you relate to the world. When we're inside the hangar, you seem very large. We'll see a stark contrast when we go outside.
You can leave the arm out there for now, but if you can snag its servo controller...
Utility rig also provides certain navigational feedback.
Thanks, dude. Scale out.
Provides a radar, temperature gauge, kind of gives you the carrots of where you're going.
Hey, Jimmy, you know the drill. Step onto the anti-icing plate so we can get your rig sprayed down. All righty. Commencing anti-icing procedures.
We like to call this the car wash.
Freeze in place the second you step outside, but its protection is limited to storms rated below Cardinal class. Copy? Anything beyond that? No guarantees. We're all set. Proceed into the airlock. Okay, slight problem. Looks like the blast doors got frozen over solid. You'll need to manually force open the hydraulic door pistons with your fork arm. The pistons are on either side of the wall there.
So your utility rig is not traditional Lost Planet where you have rocket launchers and Gatling guns. It's construction equipment. Therefore, you have to engage the world in much more improvised manner. Here we're learning that you need to utilize your tool sets to help secure basic elements around the hangar. And again, we're heavily utilizing Scaleform as an extension of the player experience.
All right, that should do it. Opening blast doors now. Be careful out there.
sorry to bother you while you're at work, but it wouldn't kill you to take the trash out every once in a while? That was terrible. Hey, darling. I can't believe it's been 6 months already. You'd think it would feel normal by now, but it doesn't. Especially not for Hank. He never falls asleep the way he did when you tuck him in. Turns out you have the magic touch. Who'd have believed it? Speak of the devil. I gotta go, babe. I love you.
So we're always looking at every moment to reinforce the narrative. So even while you're maneuvering through the environment, you always get that message from home or back from base to kind of let you know that you're out in the world in a hostile environment. This is not your cruise to the North Pole or to Alaska here. This is EDN 3, hostile environment. You constantly have the ability to hop in and out of the rig at any point in time. Jesse, if you want to go ahead and pop on out. You can get a very different, stark perspective of what the world feels like when you're in and out of your rig. You always want to feel like the rig is your lifeboat, your home away from home. Let me go ahead and hop back in. And just as Braddock has it, he has you going right into the most dangerous part of the incoming storm. And even your rig has its problems. So just as the rig takes care of you, you have to take care of your rig. And it's often not at an ideal time. Here we have the introduction of our Pack Hunter creature. Again, emphasis on intimate and cinematic experience. All our creatures hand keyframed in Maya, mixed with motion capture performance and obviously some keyframing on Jim at appropriate time. Nice. But unfortunately, where there's one pack hunter, there are multiple pack hunters. Better get that ice off quick. And while you're near your rig, you get all types of vital statistics. Your weapon set, your radar. You move too far from your rig, you'll lose that. Go ahead and take those guys out. See, they'll operate in packs that's utilizing Knapp's behavior, where they're going to constantly circle you. You get a good sense of that on both the radar and in the visual language. Nice use of the grenade. Here he comes. Nice. Now we're back in the comforts of our rig. And here comes some more pack hunters. So let's see what match they are for you in your vital suit. See their behavior is a little bit more timid. I'm not sure quite how to handle it. No match for the utility rig. I think you can do better than that, Jesse. Let's see how they are with the drill. Nothing like some pack hunter guts. That's a little bit of slice of the gameplay, everyone. So thank you, Jesse.
Royce has something you should probably hear.
So that gives you an idea of kind of the narrative emphasis. You could see all the pieces working together, the believable characters, the feedback being run through scale form, and use of complex pathing options through kidnaps. We're going to end with a little preview of things to come with a trailer that we have recently released. Ready?
I never was a greedy man, never cared much about money. Then we had a son while the whole world went to hell. I came to realize not caring about money was a luxury for those who had it. So here I am, snatching up every contract I can get. I figure the harder I work, the more I earn, the sooner I get to hold you both again.
Hey, Jim, your rig ready to roll?
Yes, sir.
You've been surveying an energy pocket, a big one out by Howling Pass. Don't need to tell you that we really need this one.
Don't you worry.
I call it the Cockpit Express. You just clip in, give the line a tug, and shoot.
Warning, active raid on deck. Clear a runway until further notice.
Opening blast doors now. Be careful out there.
Oh, you gotta be kidding me.
Research Station Charlie to Neo Venus Actual. This is a code red. Requesting priority evac. We have a class 5 infestation in progress. I repeat, this is a code red. Requesting assistance.
Next time, I'm asking for triple.
So thank you, everyone. We're very excited about bringing Lost Planet 3 in 2013.
Thanks a lot, Kevin. Excellent job. All right.